Welcome to Building the Billion Dollar Business, the podcast where we dive deep into the strategies, insights, and stories behind the world's most successful financial advisors and introduce content and actionable ideas to fuel your growth. Together, we'll unlock the methods, tactics, and mindset shifts that set the top 1% apart from the rest. I'm Ray Sclafani, and I'll be your host. Today, we're going to dive into a challenge that I'm observing is quietly disrupting even the most ambitious advisory firms. Have you ever said yes to a client opportunity that on paper looked perfect, only to find out later that it drained your team, derailed your systems, and delivered very little profit? I'm willing to bet so. Today's episode is exactly about that trap. It's called the complexity capacity gap, and it's becoming one of the most underestimated risks in our profession. I mostly see this issue occur when advisors start thinking family office, let's move up market, ultra high net worth client when it hasn't been their core business. Let's unpack a little bit about what's happening beneath the surface. You've seen the headlines. More wealth is being created, more families are selling businesses, and more clients are seeking deeper advice. Naturally, it seems like the right move is to pursue those opportunities. But here's the problem. Not every client who meets your asset threshold, even your revenue per household threshold, is the right fit. Complex relationships often require a level of customization that perhaps your team and your team systems weren't built to handle. And what feels like growth can turn into a mirage. More work, more stress, and less margin. So before you expand your client base and jump into new segments, pause for a moment and ask yourself, are we ready to serve this type of complexity without sacrificing consistency, culture, or even profitability? Clients' expectations are evolving and pretty fast. In fact, they're rising pretty dramatically. More and more families are expecting advice that goes far beyond investments. They want help navigating estate plans, family dynamics, business transitions, charitable giving, even household administration, bill paying perhaps. And while many firms are eager to say yes, the question is, can your current model deliver on that promise at scale? It's not about willingness, it's got to be about structure. So their customization needs versus the replicability is really what's at hand here. Let's talk economics for a moment. When every client engagement is a one of a kind, your team ends up reinventing the wheel, and that breaks your workflows, that breaks your tech stack, and that definitely breaks your margins. Customization without boundaries sounds noble, but it's a slippery slope. You need to know exactly which services you offer, how they're delivered, and what they cost to execute well. Because if you're not building around replicability, you're not building for sustainability. And let's be honest, most advisory teams weren't built to absorb high complexity relationships. It's a staffing challenge. Most teams are lean, they're multitasking, and they're already stretched. So when you introduce custom deliverables and bespoke client needs without reconfiguring your team, you'll create a talent bottleneck. You end up over-relying on one or two people, and the client experience becomes wildly inconsistent. Who are the firms who win at this game? They don't just hire more people, they actually rethink roles. They adopt ensemble models. They cross-train. They create capacity intentionally and not reactively. Here's a tough truth. Many firms are delivering far more value than they're being paid for. If your pricing model is entirely asset-based, you may be signaling that all the strategic guidance, relationship management, project coordination that you provide comes free with the portfolio. And that's just not true. Your firm's value should reflect the depth of what you offer, and that often means introducing a blended model, retainers, project-based fees, or scope-based fees that have service tiers that align with the complexity that you're able to serve. Remember, you're not just managing assets, you're managing expectations, relationships, and outcomes. And that deserves clear, confident pricing. So what's the takeaway? What do we do with all of this? Well, here's the message. Before you scale up, step back. Get clear on who you serve best. Design your team and service model for consistency, not heroics. Define your scope. defend your pricing, and above all, be honest about what your firm is built to handle right now. Complexity isn't the enemy, but complexity without clarity, that's the growth killer. I appreciate you listening in to today's podcast. And if this conversation sparks some ideas or even concerns, I would encourage you to talk to your leadership team about it. Revisit your ideal client profile, audit your current relationships, and ask the big question, are we growing in the right direction with intentionality? A couple of quick coaching questions as we step away from today's episode. First and foremost, with your leadership team, what are you doing to analyze the profitability per household? What are you doing to update your capability deck, not only for the current team, but where you're really headed? And what profitability guardrails do you have in place so your firm stays true to its profitability targets and you're growing the enterprise value in a very scalable way? Well, thanks for tuning in, and that's a wrap. Until next time, this is Ray Sclafani. Keep building, growing, and striving for greatness. Together, we'll redefine what's possible in the world of wealth management. Be sure to check back for our latest episode and article.